Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of the Hello, Hello podcast. I am your host, Alyssa Rogers. Look at where I am today. I am at the beautiful SOVA Innovation Hub in South Boston, Virginia, sitting next to the beautiful Tiffany Farrell with Carefully Anchored. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us here in this awesome space. I can't wait to get to know you more so everyone knows what you're doing here. And I'm just very excited because I've done some research, and to let all of the listeners and watchers know, this is our first time meeting in person.
Yes.
And since we had our conversation prior to being here today, I'm like, I have to know more because you're doing awesome things.
Thank you.
And so tell everyone, introduce yourself, tell everyone what you do.
Okay, well, I am Tiffany Farrell, the owner of Carefully Anchored. We are a virtual assistant business, as well as we do business consulting and caregiver support. So with that, let's see, we'll start with virtual assistant. We help small businesses and entrepreneurs by taking on their administrative tasks so that they can focus on the big picture. So instead of worrying about data entry and like emails and customer responses, they can hand those tasks over to me and my team, and instead they can focus on growing their business, doing what they want to do. And with that goes into the business consulting, because we also give them strategic planning as well as organizational support, as in getting their structure together, also helping them with their processes. So like instead of trying to be take on every single role and learn how to do everything in the business, they can pass that to me. Like they don't have to be the doctor, the lawyer, and the accountant. Like you can't do all of that at one time. Focus on what your business is, and I teach you how to put processes in place so that that takes that guesswork out of there. And with caregiver support, what I do is I do more advocacy for caregivers, as in teaching them how to advocate for their loved ones. I also teach them how to advocate for themselves as caregivers, because as a caregiver, you have to make sure you're taking care of yourself so that you can continue to be there and take care of your loved ones. And a new avenue we're going into is helping small businesses and large corporations eventually see the need for caregiver policies, to have those policies in place to help their employees balance work and life as a caregiver.
That's so important.
Yes, it is.
So important.
I feel like, because I myself am a caregiver for both of my parents, and honestly, that's where the passion for the caregiver advocacy came from, because in taking care of them, at one point I stopped taking care of myself. So now I'm trying to reverse all the trouble that I got into with my health by not paying attention to that. So I don't want other people to go through what I went through. So I say to let my bloopers become their blueprint as what not to do.
That's really powerful.
Yes.
That's awesome. And when you talk about, let's kind of go through this a little bit, because the virtual assistant, there are so many, as a business owner, I understand how much goes into it, and there's just so much task work that has to be done when you want to be, as the business owner, focusing on the growth of the business. And so what kind of businesses do you support, and what can they expect when they call you?
So the type of businesses I support usually are I like passion-driven businesses, just because when I work with someone, I need our thoughts to align. Like if you're not passionate about what you do, it's hard for me, because I'm very passionate about what I do. And when I work with businesses, I become your partner. So if you're not passionate, it's kind of like we're misaligned at that point. So I can't take that on because it becomes a job for me. And I went into business for myself, not to work a job. Like when you're passionate about what you do, they say you never work a day in your life. And I want to hold true to that. So I work with passion-driven entrepreneurs, small businesses, typically with small business, typically like 50 to 200 employees. But if it's more, it's not a deal breaker. But mostly I focus on the passion driven side because I need that alignment for me to bring my passion and light to your organization. So what they can expect from me is, I think my unique take is, as a business consultant and virtual assistant, since I'm merging the two, I don't just tell you what to do as a business consultant. That virtual assistant side kicks in and I help you do what you need to do. So I'm not just giving you a list of things to do, like I'm walking you through it. I'll get in the trenches with you and I'm doing it. So when you hire me, you're basically hiring a COO, a business therapist, and an accountability partner all rolled into one because I'm in there with you. Like, I know your mission. I'm going to support your mission, your vision, your core values. Like, all of that would have aligned. So I'm in there with you. So that's what you get when you hire me, is you get that passion. The same flair that you probably can see from my outfit a little bit is the same flair that I bring to any project that I do.
I love that. And I know people appreciate that so much. And so you talked about, going into business for yourself, so you didn't have to work a job. So tell us kind of about the journey that led you to opening Carefully Anchored.
So what led me to opening Carefully Anchored? Okay, so backtrack. I am born and raised in Halifax County. So like purebred, as I would say. Like both of my parents are from Halifax County, two ends of the county. They met in middle school, been together ever since. So like I am Halifax County tried and true. I went away for college. Not gonna tell a tale, but I was ready to get out of Halifax County when that time came. So I went to Norfolk. I went to Old Dominion University. Whoop, whoop. And I was in that area for 12 years. I was brought back by what I call life. My dad ended up having end-stage renal failure. So my mom was still working full-time as a registered nurse at a federal prison. So she was in North Carolina. She works in North Carolina at that time. So she's driving 3 hours basically daily, because an hour and a half back, working third shift, 12 hours as a nurse. So it was hard to get my dad to doctor's appointments, but she still needs to work. So getting the rest she needs. So I end up, I kind of thought about it and I kept feeling, it was strange leading up to that. Before I knew, anytime I came home, it was harder and harder to leave. Like I would be sad, like literally the first 5-10 minutes of my drive, I would be crying because I'm leaving. I'm like, what is going on here? So eventually I feel like God was trying to get me back here, but I wasn't fully listening. So he had to shake up my life until I felt like my only resort was to move back home. And as soon as I decided to move back home, it was like a wave of relief. Everything started falling into place. With even leaving there, everything was falling in place. Getting here, everything was starting to fall in place. And my dad took a turn for the worse, I would say. He wasn't able to drive himself anymore. So I was here right on time to be able to step in, take him to his doctor's appointments, make sure, because he was on dialysis, but he did it at home. So when he first started, he was good with it. But then it got to the point where it wasn't pulling the fluid like he needed to, because he had the machine. So then he had to start doing gravity. So it was just like I had to learn all of this stuff. Mind you, I have zero medical background. My mom is a nurse. I wanted zero parts of that.
Yeah.
I don't really. Yeah, I don't do sick people.
I get that.
So
I get it.
I like my sick people as in my
Yeah,
parents, but
yeah.
the rest I'm like, yeah, not so much. So I did not want to go into that background. However, I had to learn how to ask the right questions because at one point, like the machine wasn't working. I'm like, well, if it's not pulling off, like what are our other options? Like I had to learn how to stand up for my dad, advocate for him. And so like within that journey, like I was working part-time. Well, actually I had a full-time job at a consignment shop, working retail. And I'll never forget, I wanted to take my dad to Jacksonville, Florida, to the Mayo Clinic so we could get some answers because the doctors around here couldn't tell us why he was getting worse. So I was like, well, I need a second opinion. So that advocacy stepped in. So I went to my boss at the time and asked for a week off. And I'll never forget, she told me that she could not give me that week off. I needed to let my parents go and I stay and work.
Wow.
I just so happened to be off that day, and I'll never forget, I looked at my dad. We were at a doctor's appointment. I said, Dad, she told me that I can't take off to take you guys to the Mayo Clinic. I said, I'm going to put in my 2 weeks notice. How do you feel about that? He was like, I'm fine with it. I said, that's all I needed to know. So I stopped working and full-time caregiver. However, with my mom still working, my dad was on long-term disability. Neither one of them still to this day qualify for Medicaid, which is what pays for a caregiver. So I'm not working. I'm not being paid. You know, they give me what they can here and there. Like, thankfully, I was living at home, so
Right.
I didn't have real bills, but I needed to find a way to, like, I didn't like not having money. Like, I feel like I'm going back to childhood, like I need an allowance or something. So, like, I would say this was 2 years later, because this was like about 2018 when I left that job, because I was like, yes, no, I will never put work over family, because that was more important. I was like, that was a job. This is my family. Like,
Right.
that's much more important. So, yeah, I was like, I kept looking for jobs. I was applying for jobs, but I knew nothing was really going to fit my schedule, especially with my dad in 2019, March of 2019, he got a kidney transplant. So then that just amped up our doctor's appointments,
Right.
because like now I have to take him like every week, and we're going to Richmond because it was at VCU. So I mean, you know, that's 2.5 hours from here.
It's a whole day.
No, we're staying overnight,
Yeah.
because like he has to
yeah.
be there early in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm not driving that early. So we would stay up there. Like, so it was just, I needed something that allowed me the flexibility of being able to be 100% present for my family, but also still make a viable income. So I realized I was often helping friends with data entry and things like that. If they had a special project, they needed a quick Excel sheet, I would get them, you know, I would type up a little Excel spreadsheet, let me get that out. And just like I was doing little things here and there. If they needed to send an email to somebody, they would run it through me first. How does this sound? So now I'm correcting emails and doing correspondence for them. So then it dawned on me, hey, I'm doing this for free. I might can make a little money from this.
Yeah.
So then I started charging a little bit here and there. And then in December of 2019, my mom actually took a turn for the left with her health and ended up in a medically induced coma for a month. So now I'm back in Richmond, because she was at Chippenham Hospital in Richmond. My dad and I lived in Richmond out of hotels for 3 months.
Wow.
So, and literally my mom was released right before the pandemic shut everything down. from all of her, like she was in and out of rehab facilities because she ended up losing her fingers and toes.
Wow.
Just due to complications from her heart surgery. So again, I'm like, I can't go back to work because there's nothing that's going to allow me to take this time off. Like I was in Richmond for 3 months.
Right.
Like what job would let me be be out of
Yeah.
office for 3 months and still get paid?
Right.
So in July of 2020, I decided to just go for it and get my LLC, and Carefully Anchored was birthed. So
Wow. Happy 5 years.
yes, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
5 years in business.
Absolutely.
And still going strong.
Going strong. We're still putting one foot in front of the other.
It
That's
happens.
how I
That's how it
take it.
goes. That's how it goes. And it's such a roller coaster
It
when
is.
you are only depending on yourself to make things happen. So congratulations.
Thank
because
you.
it's not easy to do.
Thank you.
And to do what you've done for your parents. And when you said, turning your bloopers into someone else's blueprint, I mean, that's really powerful because there are so many people in the world today, especially our local community, that are going through taking care of loved ones. And it is a very, very emotional and tough thing to do.
It really is. And I don't think anybody gets the full understanding of it until it happens to you. Because honestly, I never thought it would be me taking care of my parents. I'm the youngest of two. I have an older sister. We always talked about she would step into that role because I felt like she was more responsible. I'm the baby. I'm spoiled. Like, I don't know what responsibility, like I didn't know what responsibilities were. Like, who did I take care of? It was me at the house by myself. My sister's 9 years older than me.
Yeah.
So I felt like I grew up like an only child. It was just me. So I was like, I don't know how to take care of people. And then I guess, when you say your plans, God always laughs. He was like, little do you know, it's going to be you. So, but I realized like I was the perfect one to step into this role. Like I always say, she had a career when this stuff happened. I was working a job. So I felt like we were at different places in our lives. So I could leave the job and come home. Like she had a career. And at that time, work from home jobs weren't prevalent.
Right.
So like she had to stay where she was, living in Atlanta. But yeah, so I don't feel like people truly grasp what being a caregiver takes and trying to still have a work life, a viable home life. Like it's a lot of balance. That's why I want to be able to talk to businesses and other organizations about implementing some policies for caregivers so their employees can feel that support with them, like so they can support them and feel that support, because it's so important. Because as a caregiver, oftentimes I felt like no one understood what I was going through, and that's a heavy burden to carry. So if I can provide that support for someone with part of my business, I want to do that. Like, so the caregiver support, I feel like the virtual assistant and the business consulting supports the passion of caregiver support.
Tell us about it.
So with caregiver support, like I do keynote speaking. I was a keynote speaker at a caregiver self-care event last year in November. It was through All Forks with Miss Yvette. I think you spoke with her. Yes. So her and I, we partnered together. And the funny thing is, side note, we discovered that we were relatives in the midst of us working together. So that was fun. Like that's how big my family is.
Yeah.
So, but yes, so I was a keynote speaker, and what I spoke on was nurturing yourself while taking care of others. So that's a big passion of mine because, like I said, I neglected myself for years. I like to say I'm a walking cautionary tale because I developed diabetic retinopathy because I didn't know I was a diabetic for one. So like that went untreated for so long because I was not going to the doctor. I was so focused on taking my parents to their appointments and making sure they were okay. I was not checking in with me. So it was a routine thing. I needed new glasses. So I went to go get a prescription, went to Harmon and Danville. They were like, something's happening with these eyes. You may want to see a retina specialist. Like not may, but like you need to see a retina specialist. So like that snowballed. Like just me wanting a prescription snowballed into being diagnosed with diabetic retinopathy, and like I've been correcting that as of late. I had to get injections in my eyes, had laser treatment, so because it was impacting my central vision.
Wow.
So, but that all of that could have been prevented had I been checking in with myself regularly, like having a regular primary care physician, going to the eye doctor regularly, routine dental appointments. Like all of that was by the wayside for me because I was focused on my parents. So when it comes to the caregiver support, yes, I want to advocate for those being cared for, but my passion is advocating for the caregiver, reminding them to take care of themselves and teaching them how to take care of themselves, and that self-care is never selfish. It's necessary. Like absolutely necessary, because I wouldn't be here to take care of them if I'm not taking care of me. Like I need to be my best self so that I can make sure I'm functioning at 100% to advocate for them. And then also on that side of advocating for your loved ones, I want to teach them what questions to ask, what things to do, because like with my dad, for example, he was on the transplant list with Duke. And they told us he wasn't a viable candidate for a kidney transplant. This is after I went to the Mayo Clinic, got a full workup, knew exactly what he needed because like his heart function went down. So they were saying they couldn't do a kidney transplant until his heart function went up, so he needed a bypass surgery to clear the blockages in his heart. Duke said, oh no, he's not a viable candidate for that. So some might would have taken that as that's the final say. Me, I'm like, this is not the only health system. Second opinion, please. Like, no, because one thing I will say, with my business name, Carefully Anchored, it has meaning, as you probably might can tell. So care, of course, is capitalized in Carefully Anchored. And that's because, of course, I care as a caregiver. Like, that's a homage to my background, my roots as a caregiver right now, and how the business was birthed from me being a caregiver and needing income in the midst of that. And anchored came from my faith, is what has anchored me in all of this. So I feel like without my faith, I would have lost my mind a long time ago because I did not know what to do. I literally felt like I was flying by the seat of my pants. So I was just like, we're going to try this. Oh, well, that didn't work. Let's try this. Let's do this. But when Duke told us no, I was like, God didn't say that. So I was like, we're going to try somebody else. So we ended up getting connected with VCU. VCU was like, oh, well, he needs this bypass surgery. When do you want to schedule it? Aww. Just like that. So in June of 2018, my dad had the bypass surgery. Went perfectly. Like when I say perfectly, like that man never ceases to amaze me, because like the very next day he's up walking around, like walking laps around the nurse's station, and they're just like so impressed with him. So he had that surgery in June of 2018. By December of 2018, his heart function is back up to above 50%, because it was down to 30%. Right. So it's back up to 50%, which makes him a viable candidate for the transplant. So VCU puts him back on the transplant list January of 2019. March of 2019, we get the call that there's a kidney for him. So it was just like things were just falling into place. And
thanks to you.
Yes, because I never took no for an answer. Because, as they say, the fat lady hadn't sung, so it wasn't over, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's the importance of pushing further. Like, I never took a doctor's no, ever. I always sought another opinion, or I went in with my own research and was like, well, okay, so you said this isn't working, but I read that this, and this. So what about one of these options? Can we look into that? Like, and then I never let them rush me, because no, you're here to service us. So you're gonna explain things to us and talk to me like I'm 5, like you would talk to your 5-year-old. So it's important to be assertive and informed, and that's what I want to bring to other caregivers. Like, it's okay to ask questions. It does not matter if they look at you like you're crazy. That's fine. You may think I'm crazy, but you're also going to answer my question. So that's what I want other caregivers to know. That's perfectly okay. And then I want to tie that in with the businesses, like their policies that they have. Like, you can bring me in and we can talk to your employees that are caregivers and let them know, like, different things that they can do and how they can still balance work and that life as a caregiver.
Well, thank you for everything that you're bringing to Halifax County.
I am trying.
Like, this is amazing. And, you know, really advocating for anyone that comes to you is just, I mean, it's very needed in the world we live in today. And I really appreciate you doing everything that you do. How can people find you?
Well, you can definitely find me on Facebook. My page is Carefully Anchored. Actually, on Facebook and Instagram is under Carefully Anchored, as well as my website is carefullyanchored.com.
And your office
yes.
is in an amazing facility here.
Yes, that
and
too.
I just think that's amazing too, that you took the step to say, you know, I'm going to come into an office and I'm going to take care of businesses and caregivers. So tell us about where your office is.
My office is at the SOVA Innovation Hub in downtown South Boston, beautiful downtown South Boston, in the NBC building. That's where I'm located. Was it 715 Wilbourn Avenue in South Boston? You can always stop in. Well, wait, Monday through Friday. You can stop in and typically find me here. I would suggest going on the website and schedule an appointment, because remember, I am a business owner and entrepreneur. Therefore, I have the time freedom to be elsewhere and not necessarily in the office. So I'm in the SOVA Innovation Hub, which has been an amazing, that was one of the best moves I made in business. That was one of the best business decisions, was getting an office space here. One, I needed the quiet space. Like, just being out of my house was one thing, because for some reason, my parents think that if I'm at home, I'm not working. Yes, I am. Like, it didn't matter if I was in the office or door shut. It's not good. I'm making a sandwich. You want one? No, I want a call. Like, I'm taking care of business. So one, it gave me the quiet space. Two, the resources where, like, I live way out in the county. So my internet is not the best, which is another thing that I feel like somebody needs to take care of. It doesn't make sense that in this day and age, people who live way out in the county like I do, I live in like the Elmo, Turbeville area. Well, not Turbeville, but Elmo, exactly. And we don't have access to fiber optic internet. Like, we're still on, I mean, we have Wi-Fi, but it's up to 1 meg or whatever they call it. Like, up to 1. Like, so they're not even guaranteeing the 1. So trying to do actual virtual assistant work, like I need the internet.
Yes.
So that was one of the best things that I got from here was good internet.
Yes.
Good, reliable internet with lots of resources here. The printer, we have good snacks and everything. And then the people have been phenomenal. Like I have grown leaps and bounds in my business since I've been here because I got connected with Mallory, with Liz, with Lauren, and Laura, another co-worker here, and they have plugged me into so many resources that have taken me well outside of my comfort zone. Believe it or not, I fancy myself as an introvert.
Yeah.
Like I didn't do networking events, like something like this. Had this opportunity presented itself earlier in my business, I probably would have been like, thanks, but no thanks. I don't think I have anything to say. Like this would, or it would have been a 5-minute segment.
Right.
So, but they have pulled me out of my comfort zone. I have worked on so many projects with them. It's almost like I'm their favorite volunteer now. Like I'm involved in everything. And I love that because I get to see the community that I grew up in but did not know because I live so far out. So now I'm trying to and most of the people that I grew up with are gone. So I'm trying to reintegrate into the community. So this has been the best move for me, being at the Innovation Hub, because I'm able to connect and really see the community, be involved. We have an organization out of Charlottesville. It's called CIC, Community Investment Corporation. They are out of Charlottesville, and they invest in small businesses, like do microloans and things like that. But with them, like they have the coworker Laura, who's in this office space, and with meeting her, she got me involved in volunteering with their entrepreneur workshop that they have twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. Like we have a fall cohort starting in August, and I'm actually a work group leader.
Yay.
So I volunteer my time and I pour into entrepreneurs for 16 weeks, leading discussions and talking about the different systems, like how to start the business. Basically, what we do is week to week, we take them through how to start a business properly. And by the end of the week, end of the 16 weeks, they have all of the components to draft a viable business plan, basically.
Amazing.
So, like, I never would have, if you would have told me in 2020 when I started this business that I would be pouring into other small businesses, like what do I have? Like I would have been like, I don't have anything to offer them. But being plugged in and connected to these wonderful individuals here really pulled out of me things that I didn't even know were in me. And it shifted some of my focus in business. It made me pivot into wanting to work with small businesses like that and do the business consulting, because not only am I capable as an administrative professional, because that's where my background was doing customer service, administrative support for most of my life, but I also, as a business owner, have walked this path, so I can walk others along the path too. I can hold their hand, guide them. I do have something to give them. But I did not realize that until I was connected here with people who saw things in me that I did not see in myself. And not only did they see it, they pulled it out of me. And we also have, like with Rise Collaborative, which is with SOVA Innovation Hub, they do a big summit. It's going to be November the 1st. So I also helped them last year with planning, and hopefully this year I'll tap back in with planning. And so, like, it was just an amazing event last year. Like, lots of business owners came together. They had workshops, sessions, and then keynote speakers that were amazing. So it was a great, like, they had great resources like financing and marketing, like anything that you needed. Like, they had the sessions on that. And just, I feel like I wouldn't have known about these things if I did not get plugged in. So that's the most important thing, is being plugged in. And the Innovation Hub is really that hub for me, like where I am able to be connected to resources and also be a resource.
Yes.
So I absolutely love being here and will forever advocate for being here. Like, I think I'm a permanent office resident. My office will never be available.
Passion. I think the title of this podcast is Passion because I feel it from you. You're so passionate about everything you do. Thank you for becoming an extrovert today and being on Hello and sharing your story. Continue doing what you're doing because you're doing amazing things. I can't wait to see what else you continue to do. And I know you're going to go so far. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching and listening today. I appreciate it every single week. Continue tuning in, rating, reviewing, subscribing. Follow Tiffany. Yes. Everything is linked, so be sure to give her a follow and, continue watching. We will see you next week.